Welcome into Tennessee Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. Today's show, we're taking a look at some training camp news and notes and takeaways. First day of practice in the books, day 2 ongoing. Let's break down some of the early praise, beginning with the offense. And this is very important from that standpoint. Tannehill and the offense drew praise on day 1. And Tannehill, by the way, per some of the charting done by the big J's down there, he was 11 for 11 in 7-on-7 and team drills. Not that many. It's a smaller sample size. I know, blah, blah, blah. But was indeed impressive, and that's a big factor, I think, from that standpoint. After allegedly last year things weren't so crisp on offense. Here's what Tannehill had to say after day 1. Quote, "It's going to be a long process as we go through training camp, but we have a big opportunity to get better in training camp. And I'm excited to try and take advantage of each and every day. I'm proud of our guys. We came out here day 1 and got off to a good start. I thought we got a lot of really good work done in the spring. We got a lot of work done on the details and the timing as far as the pass game goes. Whether it was individual, group, or 7-on-7, we made some big strides over the course of this spring, and I felt like through our meetings over the last couple of days that our guys have retained that information. I think a step forward in terms of the offense and the passing game in particular is a big deal. Obviously, Tennessee last year was the number 1 seed in the AFC, but I do still think there was some chances for growth on the offense. It wasn't quite clicking the way it needed to be, and that especially rang true in the playoffs. Training camp's a big deal, and it's nice to actually be working our way back towards real football. God, June and July is so boring as an NFL fan. But camp is here. And we here at Titans Today are going to keep you guys updated on everything going on. The news, the rumors, updates, takeaways. We'll do winners and losers, risers, falls. We got you guys covered with what's going on at Titans camp. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Let's hit Treylon Burks. Now, on our last video here, Harrison Graham kind of broke down what Mike Vrabel was expecting. Well, he was right about Treylon Burks looking better. He looked strong on day 1. Sharp as well on day 1 of camp. Got open for a deep ball diving catch from Tannehill. Caught 2 more, one from Logan Woodside. Burks says he feels better, and he is in better shape from his own statement and allegedly looks a little bit thinner, unlike your boy, me, around the waist area, which is a very good sign there. He also said he dropped a few pounds. Here's what Burks said following practice. Quote, "I've dropped maybe 5 or 6 pounds. It's made a pretty good difference with my asthma and breathing and being able to handle it better. Conditioning, running, and putting myself in situations where I knew that my asthma was going to flare up and being able to push through it and be dominant. That's just being accountable. I should have taken a better attack on that. Now that I am, you can tell there's a big difference." So this is Burks saying that he was a little bit heavier than what he should have been at minicamp and at OTAs when he missed all that time. In general, I think this is a very good way to approach it. It all kind of ties in with each other, but I am less concerned about how a player looks, on June 27th than I am on July 27th, and then, of course, August 27th or 28th, whatever date we want to use there. So I feel good about where Burks is right now, and I think making some big plays early in camp is a really promising sign. Now, here's my question of the day. Will Treylon Burks get 1,000 yards this year? It's a great number to set as your benchmark, especially for a young rookie receiver. You get that, you're feeling great. Why for yes and for no? This is going to be our pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes on YouTube, it's good timing. Head down there, type in Y or N. Let's talk some injury news now. The expectation, again, was that Farley was going to be good to go, and he is. Now, Caleb Farley worked today, was at practice. He's not on the PUP list, so great sign from that standpoint there. He actually began practice with the knee brace on, but took it off super early on. So he's out of the knee brace. Huge news there. I cannot wait to see Farley this year. I want him out there in the preseason. I think he's going to have a big-time step forward. And what in reality is truly year 1 for him since he missed almost all of last season. Robert Woods, meanwhile, also working without that knee brace. Both guys coming off the ACL injuries. They practice. There will be some semblance of a pitch count for those guys, like Woods, for example. I don't need him to play in the preseason. Farley, though, I would like to see it from that standpoint. We'll keep you guys updated with Woods, Farley, preseason stuff, all of it. We want to get to 5,000 subs here on Titans Today. Currently, just over 4,200, which which is fine, I guess, but I have higher expectations of this channel. So hit that big red button if you haven't already, and join us for more Titans vids. The more subscribers we have, the more videos we can do for you guys here on Titans Today. One of the things Mike Vrabel revealed practice was the team's off-season awards. Now, I'll spend time explaining what this is. Basically goes to the players who impress the staff the most in the offseason. Guys who are spending extra time in the weight room, whatever, around the facility, busting their butt to make an impact. And there are a lot of important names you see on here. We'll go in-depth in each of them, but it's Dillon Radunz, Tory Carter, Dez Fitzpatrick on offense, Caleb Farley, Amani Hooker, and DeMarcus Walker on defense. So first up is Radunz. And if you could pick the one guy who you were like, I need him to have a big offseason, I think it's Dillon Radunz. That's right. He wasn't good last year, and you are banking on him being your starter at right tackle. 2 sacks, 3 hits, 3 hurries, and a very small sample size where things did not go very well from that standpoint last year. But his impact is critical. You don't want a third-round rookie to beat out Dillon Radunz. So him being an offseason award winner, that's a big deal for him. So do you trust Radunz to start at right tackle? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Sound off for me in the comment section. It is at least somewhat stereotypical to have the fullback winning the offseason award for busting his butt. 2 tackles, a forced fumble on special teams. He played 8 games in total. He's going to push for a roster spot there at fullback/special team stud. Receiver-wise, you'd love to see Dez Fitzpatrick on this list because he did make team as a 4th-round rookie last year. That was a big issue for Tennessee. They kind of thought they had a piece, and he couldn't even make the roster. Big promising sign for him to be a part of the offseason award winners. And I think Dez is a good name for this question. What player are you most excited or hopeful to break out this year? You're looking for a lesser name, i.e. not Derrick Henry. We know him already. Drop that name or names in the comment section. Amani Hooker being on that list, I think it's a pretty good sign as well. We already spent a lot of time on Caleb Farley, so we'll skip him for now, but that's good too. Hooker's in the final year of his deal. There have been some extension talks. He's primed for a big year. Contract year Amani Hooker. Contract year Hooker. Phrasing? That's a good sign for Tennessee. I have said it before, and I will continue to say it. This secondary, your young corners and your talented safeties, I would put it up against pretty much any group in the entire NFL. DeMarcus Walker, meanwhile, at some level has been a forgotten man along the defensive line. Signed later in free agency from the Houston Texans, offers a lot of different positional flex. Do not sleep on DeMarcus Walker, former 2nd-round pick. I still think his best is a 5 technique/3 tech, but no one's really ever used him quite like that, so maybe I'm wrong. Certainly would not be the first time. But him being an offseason award winner, having signed this offseason, I mean, that's called putting your best foot forward and making the ideal impression on your new team and coaching staff. Last note is on Jeffery Simmons. As expected, Mike Vrabel told the truth. Simmons did practice on day 1, even spoke with media afterward, refusing to talk about his contract status. He doesn't want to speak publicly on it, says he's a team for that. Well, we can also talk about it because we're not Jeffery Simmons. He's going to get a bag. There's no way around it. Aaron Donald to Leonard Williams is a massive gap among defensive tackles. And I think the Aaron Donald deal is pretty much about as far as you're going to find. He's so far above everything else. No one's going to be able to realistically ask for $31.6 million. Now, $22 million a year, beating Leonard Williams and DeForest Buckner, now that is possible. And I think that might be more along the lines of what Simmons is asking for. And to be blunt, I think it's worth every penny. Outside of Aaron Donald and maybe Cam Hayward, there is not an interior defensive lineman I would rather have in the entire NFL. And frankly, if you're doing the whole fantasy-style redraft perspective, he's up there because he's young. So if you're like me and you want Jeffery Simmons to get the bag, type me in the comment section. Simmons' numbers in 2020 didn't take the jump forward that his film and play reflected that it was going to. It seemed like a little bit low. Then in 2021, the numbers were more indicative of the overall play. Simmons is a stud. He's a star. And I think one of the best young, if not, he is the best young interior defensive linemen in the NFL. If I'm Tennessee, I'm getting that deal done sooner rather than later.